Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel, The United Road. First of all, a warm welcome to everyone. And as I said, today I am just going to rant. I'm not going to abuse. I try to not abuse. Obviously, at times you lose your, emotion, the control over your emotion. But yeah, I'm not going to start abusing. But I am just furious at this point of time. And as I said, today I will be joined by Sebastian as well. And whoever is joining, I think everyone at this point of time is frustrated because of the lack of transfers that we have done in the market and the names we are getting linked with. So, guys, first of all, welcome Sebastian to the stream, and then we will get along.
Hello,
Sebastian, welcome
everyone.
after a
How are
long
we doing? Right, yeah, all good. Frustrated FC, definitely. My God, frustrated.
in every way, in every way.
I know, unbelievable. Could not believe this. I can't believe this week. I can't believe what's happened, especially the transfer news. I can't get over Arnautovic. Really, where has that come from? That is the most ridiculous one ever, isn't it?
See, I was on the stream yesterday, Sebastian, and someone said that Arnautovic to United, and I was like, absolutely rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. I'm not taking this. I'm not even discussing this because it's absolute rubbish news. And all of a sudden, I got to know that it was Di Marzio who came up with the news. So what do you say? Like, and that too, we have already a bit declined for like 9 million. Imagine getting someone like Arnautovic for 15 million to United.
I don't even want him, even if he was on a free. I still don't want him. I just can't understand it. It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Venkatesh, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. We are looking at the comments straight away. Absolutely crap. That's the state of our minds. I used to finished FC. Srinidhiva is saying hello and no to these signings. I don't think Sebastian, any United fan, any of want any of these signings.
No, I honestly, both the signings, both of them are ridiculous. I genuinely thought yesterday when I heard Arnautovic, I thought it was a joke. I really thought someone was. It was just a joke. I thought, no, surely. Why? When if you look at all the other teams, Man City have gone for Haaland, Alvarez. Liverpool have gone for Nunez. Ranić told them about Vlahovic. He told them about Alvarez. He gave them options. In January, they said no. And then they look at a 33-year-old player who couldn't make it realistically. He couldn't even do it at Stoke or West Ham. He was pretty poor. He went off to China in his prime. And I think that says everything about his attitude. Imagine going to China in your prime. That sums him up. Why on earth are we looking at him?
Seriously. Lena says hello to you. Everyone is saying hello, Sebastian. Timothy, welcome to the stream. We have so many things to talk about today. As I said, today we are just going to rant. I'm not going to let anyone stop from saying whatever they want to say, at this point of time. So, Benjamin Sesko, as we have already discussed, he is going old United. I think, we never changed. We never changed. So it's not old or new. It's like the same United, It's the same United. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. Sebastian, old United, new United. I think it's just the same United. No plan B, nothing.
No, exactly. We've got all these new names in the door, but what are they actually doing? To be honest, the alarm bells were there when Richard Arnold was seen in a pub. I mean, you would not see Liverpool or Man City's hierarchy in a pub, would you? And I said to people at the time, I said, don't think that this is a good thing. It's not. You do not want your hierarchy in a pub. You want them. You don't even want to know Richard Arnold's name. You don't want to know anything about him. You just want him to quietly get on with the business and bring in the players. Why is he down the pub with United fans? It's laughable.
At that point of time, I wanted to make others understand that this is just a PR thing. Yeah. Don't fall for any of the single word he's saying. And people at that point of time, at least he's meeting the fans. Of course, he will meet the fans. There is so much anger. All of a sudden you meet like 10, 15 fans, you get recorded and you are basically talking about, how much money, the entire world knows how much money we have burned. It's in front of everyone. You are not saying some things which is not known to others, which is not known to United fans. It is known to everybody around the world. You are saying the same things. We are hearing the same crap window after window. It was Ed Woodward first. Now Richard Arnold has come. I always said, all right, it might take some time, but the way all of a sudden we are going for players like Arnautovic, I would have been much more happier if we would have not gone for them.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'd rather sign nobody than sign Arnautovic. Genuinely, I'd rather
Exactly.
just go with. I'd rather say to Garnacho, go out there and give it a go. I do not want us to sign another 30-odd-year-old that we're going to have to sell in a few months' time. It's utterly pointless. And again, why are we looking at players with attitude problems? It's like
You
it's
know,
stupid. There's just no sense to it at all. At least I'd rather we took a chance on some 20-year-old from Brazil who we didn't know anything about, but at least he was young, at
exactly.
least he had some potential, than to go with a player like that. It's just utterly ridiculous.
I was also saying one thing. I was also saying one thing, that why, all of a sudden, when you look at Erik Ten Hag, everyone says, Sebastian, everyone in the world knows that he's a disciplinarian. He likes to have discipline in the team. He likes to have people with calm headed. He wants mature players. He don't want any players that has to do anything with the controversy. And all of a sudden we see we are signing, going for Arnautovic, issues throughout his career. Then we have Rabiot, issues throughout his career, and we have to deal with his mom, who is even worse than Raiola. You know, so all of a sudden it looks like, it's Glazers again calling the shot. They don't give a shit about what Erik Ten Hag wants. You know, so it's all of a sudden it's all Glazers again. People are saying, oh no, Erik Ten Hag might be wanting him and all that, but it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
No, that doesn't. I mean, why on earth would they be after it? To be honest, Rabiot, you could say, okay, maybe Ten Hag thinks he can get the best out of him, but realistically, that can't have been one of his first targets, can it? It's like, what can we find? Let's just panic buy. We had that summer where we bought Palestri, I think it was Diallo and Cavani, and it was a complete waste of money. We overpaid for Diallo, didn't we? Cavani didn't work out. Palestri's barely even played for us, and you just think, we're going for exact same thing again this summer. We're going to end up buying two players who realistically are not going to be good enough. It's a complete waste of
Levels
time.
of this club and finished players. That's why I always say, Chelsea fans don't have any knowledge. They just come out and they shout. It's not the player who has rejected United, it's the club. So get information first before you come out and make a mockery of yourself. First of all, we move on. That's why I say that knowledge, half knowledge is not good. At least have the knowledge, even if you're trying to mock somebody. Don't try to mock somebody with half-hearted information, and then you are making a joke of yourself. So, at this point of time, as you said, these players are not going to make a difference as such. Ojo, Jojo, welcome to the stream. United without glory. What to say about that, Vishal bhai? Sorry, Sebastian. That's the comment from Vishal. United without glory at this point of time.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's so simple to build. It's so simple if you just have a brain to build a football team. It's not difficult, is it? It's really not difficult. We all know the characteristics. We all know the little things that you need to build a good football team. And Manchester United are just doing the opposite. And I think that's the
Exactly.
frustrating thing with the Glazers. It's not that they don't spend money. They've spent money in the past, but they spend it so badly. Like, they actually just need someone to advise them and say, look, we could actually save you money because you spend it so badly. When you look at the money we've wasted in the past on
Exactly.
utter rubbish, it's just, they're all over the place, all over the place. And I don't know what your opinion is on the protest, but for me, they're kind of pointless, because doing a protest before the game and then buying your season ticket, you're still giving the money to the Glazers ultimately. And the only thing that will ever make the Glazers leave Man United is if people stop renewing season tickets. That's the only thing. Businessmen only think about money. If that ground is half full, that's the only time that the Glazers will take notice. You can sing what you want, shout what you want. If you're giving them the money, they don't care. All while there's 75,000 people in that stadium, the Glazers are laughing at us.
Exactly.
That's that.
I was watching a video today. I was watching a video today at this point of time from, Valencia fans. They are
Yeah.
also protesting against the owners. And I think the stadium is called Mestella. It
Yeah.
was absolutely empty. It was like one third or one fourth filled, and most of the people were outside with the Valencia flags, and they were basically going all gaga against the Valencia owners. So people, as we say, as you speak about it, that till the time you are having your season tickets and you are, you are protesting, whatever you are saying, they're not going to listen to you. Unless or until you are not going to the stadium, I am not going to go out and say whether you should go or not, whether you should stay over there or not. But I think this makes sense, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's your choice. If you want to go, go. But the point is there's no point in moaning about it. Like it's like going to a store, and buying a product that doesn't work. It's just utterly pointless, isn't it?
Exactly.
This is the problem. I think you have to make the point in the right way. And unfortunately, it was the same with Newcastle fans when they had Mike Ashley.
Exactly.
Until they started leaving the ground, no one takes any notice. And unfortunately, we're in a similar position. But it's very difficult to organise these things. That's the problem. And Man United never really been able to organise proper protests. It's always been very half-hearted. The protests always come and then they go. And it shouldn't be about, oh, we've signed this player this week. Let's love the Glazers again. You either strongly hate them or you don't mind them. The sort of half-hearted protests are pointless.
Exactly. United always pay more for players than our rivals pay. Yeah, absolutely right. We are a laughing stock at this point of time. Vishal says Rangnick was spot on. It's not the manager, no. But we all know that, Vishal bhai, even before Rangnick said that, Rangnick, even before he said that we need 10 players and all that stuff, we all knew that we need it. It's like, from the core, we need it. We need to like basically cleanse the entire team from top to bottom. People are saying, McFred is worse. All right, we all know that. We went for Frenkie de Jong, we didn't get him. Now we are going for Rabiot. People were saying we have, put up all the eggs in the one basket. I was saying the same. For us, there is no plan B. We either get him, or we just don't.
Yeah.
From the beginning. And if you were so keen, I have always said that this was the deal where board done everything right. 17 million is not your issue. You are basically paying 85 already. That 17 is not your issue. But now that you know that the manager's entire playing, dimension, you can say, or playing style is dependent on that player, and he wants him so badly. And now with Chelsea in the race, how do you see we are going to approach this? Because as I talked to you about it, Chelsea are willing to pay the 17 million.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we should have to pay it. But if we're gonna buy Arnautovic and we're gonna buy
Exactly.
Rabiot, then I'd rather spend the 17 million towards De Jong. I don't think we should
Exactly.
pay it on principle. We shouldn't. I agree with us being strong in negotiations.
Yeah.
I've complained. I want us to be strong. I don't want us to waste money and overpay for players. Of course, like that doesn't make sense. That's not a good business plan. But ultimately, if you need the player and you're going to waste that money anyway on Arnautovic and Rabiot, then you might as well just go and get De Jong. I can't believe, surely we haven't been there for how many months? 3 months now for no reason. Surely we have a yes from the player. But if we're signing Rabiot, maybe we don't, or maybe we're getting both of them. I don't know. But
Yeah, everybody we have heard at this point of time basically suggests that this deal is, different to the deal that we are doing for Frenkie de Jong. And also there is interesting factor that's coming into this place is Allegri, he rates McTominay and he wants McTominay in this deal, you know. So I don't know how much truth is in it. I don't know at this point of time. But as I said, I will take this comment in the by, but I feel that McTominay and Fred are good for the bench. And for the bench, I mean that they are good enough to play the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup. I still feel that they can contribute, not just in a way that people expect them to. They cannot run the United midfield against the likes of City, Chelsea, Liverpool, at this point of time, even Arsenal or Spurs. So they cannot run the midfield, but against certain teams where you need to give your players some rest, they can do the job. So what do you think about that, Sebastian? Good enough for the bench, or don't even want him on the bench?
no, Fred for me is a good squad player. Fred's a good squad player, and you can use him in the away games where you need an extra body, where maybe you're not going to have the ball. Sometimes that's where you need Fred in tough away games to try and get the ball back. He's very good at that. Fred, is a good player for certain games. McTominay is kind of similar, but at the minute McTominay's dropped his level so much.
Yeah.
But you can't. The problem is with them both, when you're at home against Brighton and you want to control the tempo of the game, Fred and McTominay, it's just not going to work. I don't want to see both of them in home games. I don't mind one of them, but both of them, it's utterly pointless because what do they actually do? They don't protect the back four. They don't
Exactly.
offer anything. They don't offer anything going forward. All they really do is make some silly tackles, give the ball away, and run around. Where's the
Exactly.
actual? There's no actual proper play from either of them, is there? And for the start of the season, both of them, for me, it was very noticeable in that game. There were four players in that game against Brighton who were terrible on the ball, and that was De Gea, Dalot, McTominay, and Fred. All four of those players are going to struggle under Ten Hag in terms of keeping
Exactly.
the ball because they were all terrible at it. They need to improve massively.
You know, one thing that people at this point of time is also forgetting. People are saying, first of all, I will take this comment. I think there is no betrayal. Salzburg and Red Bull Leipzig basically owned by the same people. So obviously they transferred one of their players to the second team of theirs, for a low cost, and now they will try to sell him for like 70, 80 million next season. That's what they are going to do. With Salzburg, other teams would have tried to negotiate for like 40 million, 35 million. With Leipzig, all of a sudden, he is there on a new contract till 2028. They will be like, you know what, we want 70 million, or there is absolutely no talk about it. So coming back to this, the skill set that McTominay is good. Italian league, I have said that McTominay can thrive. As you also already said, Anish, that there is no pressing, nothing at all in the Italian league, so he can thrive. I will take your comment on this one, Sebastian.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with McTominay, I think he could do a job in the Italian league. He's one of those players. Yeah, he could run around and do a job in that league. But I don't know why any top team would be looking at him because they'll have the same problem that we've had. He can't control the tempo of a game. So maybe if Mourinho wanted him at Roma, you could understand it because
Yeah,
maybe something like that would work. But I don't understand why a top club would want him if you're looking to control games. I just don't see it at all. I think it'd be a big problem. But I think the noticeable thing for McTominay is he doesn't start for Scotland in midfield. If he was a
he
world
starts as a
class
center back.
midfielder, you'd start for
Yeah, he
Scotland,
starts
wouldn't
as
you?
a center back. Yeah,
Yeah,
he plays in a three at the back system as a center back. I have absolutely no idea. I tend to not go too harsh on the players. I always criticize for the what they are not. That's why I criticize De Gea as well. Absolute rubbish with ball on his feet, and people fail to understand. They are like, he saved us before. He saved us. Football has moved on in the last 5, 6 years. When he was saving us 6 years, 7 years, at that point of time, Guardiola and people like Klopp, they were settling in. Look at where they are right now at this point of time.
yeah,
They did it. Guardiola didn't settle for Joe Hart. Guardiola didn't settle for, Claudio Bravo. So
yeah.
they just kept on moving on. And here, oh my God, De Gea has saved us for 3 seasons, and that's why give him a lifetime contract, on 500,000 per week.
No, I've never understood the fuss about De Gea. I've never understood it. The thing is about De Gea, he's a very good shot stopper. Very good shot stopper. He's
Exactly.
probably the
Best,
best.
I
Probably
would
the
say,
best.
best in the world.
Exactly. One of the best in the world. But everything else in his game is flawed. He's terrible with his feet. He's rubbish at coming out from his box. I watched Heaton in the friendly the other day, and he was alert. He was coming out of his box, and it was actually refreshing to have a physical goalkeeper.
Exactly.
From corners, from free kicks. De Gea's just miles off it. He gets bullied. And I think everyone keeps talking about the centre backs, but let's look. We've tried a lot of centre backs, haven't we, over the years? And they all
Exactly.
seem to fail. And I do think that it would help if we had a goalkeeper who was more physical. I understand this summer it was never going to happen. We had so many other positions to sort.
Exactly.
And it's not really Ten Hag's fault because that with Man City it's different. It's easy for Guardiola to say goodbye Joe Hart because he knows he's going to be able to buy who he wants. But with the Glazers, because they only ever buy one or two players, we can't replace everybody in one summer. But I expected six
Exactly.
players, and the fact that we haven't got six, we haven't even had that one big transfer yet. We haven't had that one
Exactly.
big 60, 70 million transfer that makes you go, wow, like that's a player who can come straight into our team, improve us, because even Lisandro Martinez, okay, he costs 50 million, but some people would say, you could
Yeah.
have Maguire, Varane, maybe Martinez wouldn't go straight into the team. We needed an Anthony, we needed a De Jong to come straight in,
Exactly.
and we haven't done it.
The moment Ajax started it, Ajax started asking for 80 million, I think we were out of it. But coming back to this question, what about Rashford? I think he's finished. For me, he's not finished. When you are not getting the ball to your wingers, what are you are expecting from them throughout the game? The first time Sancho and Rashford got into the game yesterday was around 65th minute. When we basically got the ball, the chance he missed on one, he should have scored obviously, but that was offside. So that was, you can say, a saving grace. But yeah, he needs to up the ante. He was good in the preseason, same with Sancho. But the problem with us is if the midfielders are not getting the ball to those players, you know, they are not going to make any sense. They can hug the touch line, but if they are not getting the ball, who are they going to run on?
Yeah.
And that's why we talked about when Eriksen went deep, everything changed. Everything changed. So
Yeah. Well, Eriksen, that's what he was bought for. He was bought to come like for the home games. That's why I felt like if we just had all the other positions that we needed, Eriksen could be a big player for us in the home games against the weaker teams because he can play that dangerous ball. He can control the tempo. So Eriksen's such a big player, but yeah, he was obviously in the wrong position yesterday. Rashford, to be fair to him, yesterday it was the hardest he's worked in a long time. I thought Rashford worked hard yesterday, but yeah, he still looks like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. Every time he goes to shoot, he looks so emotional. He needs to learn to relax. He needs to take it a little bit easier.
exactly.
And Sancho,
And that's why I said I don't think he's finished, but we still 37 games to go. If he's not proving his metal this season, I think he won't be a starter next season. That's a guarantee. With Garnacho, breathing down your neck, and with the manager trusting him, he will get eventually the games if Rashford is not improving. Thoughts on Sane news? I think there was nothing in it, Anish bhai. I don't think there was nothing in it. Barcelona, at that point of time, Lewandowski came out and he said that he wants to move. So there is totally difference. So I don't think Sane is happening. Quick word on it, Sebastian.
yeah, Sane, I really like. I always liked him. I really liked him. Obviously, yeah, when he was at Man City, he played at Old Trafford a couple of times and he was fantastic. And I think I was there a couple of times live and saw him and he was really, really good. So I do like Sane. I think he would. Sane's. I think he's a much better player than Rashford and he's probably more consistent than Sancho. So I'd have Sane in a heartbeat. But yeah, I don't think Bayern Munich are gonna be selling him, unfortunately. But that's the type of player that we need. We need players like that, rapid players. I just want pace. I want pace up front, and I want a goal scorer, a pressing striker with some pace as well. But we just haven't. Yeah, we're going to be signing a 33-year-old.
Rabiot, this is mother and Arnautovic's brother. It's basically a family affair, and we all know. Rabiot's mother. So basically, this is a sarcastic comment. So don't take anyone, seriously, guys. So just join what is happening. Nothing is happening, Devansh bhai. At this point of time, we are absolutely fucked. That is the word which I want to say. So that's what's happening. Anish was saying I would take a 34, 35-year-old Taylor Nevers. Exactly. We have talked about this. We have talked about this. People don't basically, realize that they are like, just because he has saved it in the past, just keep the player. That's not going to happen. As we have talked, football has changed. I will start hitting ahead of the De Gea. Why any should have the monopoly, right? If you are not performing, when we talk about replacing Rashford, Sancho, Eriksen or Bruno, talk about replacing De Gea as well. People are so stuck with De Gea at this point of time. Many are trying to fight with me. That he saved us. Obviously he did. No one is undermining what he has done for the club. He might get a legendary status. I'm not going to deny it. He has done a lot for the club. But now the football has changed and people are not willing to accept that. People are not willing to accept that. And that's the problem. This is the comment which I really wanted to highlight.
Yeah. Yeah, going well. I agree with that comment. I agree with it. I think Scamacca and Ruiz are obviously much better players, and they would definitely be better than the two players that we're linked to at the minute. I still can't quite believe it. I feel like I'm in a nightmare. I feel like on Friday I was so happy. I was waiting for the Premier League, absolutely buzzing, running around the house, can't wait for the Premier League. And then all of a sudden we had a nightmare Sunday. I woke up Monday and we're signing an Arnautovic and Rabiot. It's like a joke, honestly. I'm sure I'm still asleep or something. I'm sure this isn't happening. It can't be happening.
As I said, guys, I will be taking everyone's comment. Just hold on a second. We are discussing a lot of things, so that's why I'm a bit slow today. Should Varane and Martinez be our centre back partnership? Definitely yes for me. What do you think, Sebastian? First of all, Vishal bhai, thanks a lot for the super chat. Sorry, super sticker. That always helps the channel. So thanks a lot. And Sebastian, what do you think? For me, definite yes.
Yeah, I would have started with Varane and Martinez. I think Varane. I don't think Varane's done something wrong. I just think he was unfit. He just couldn't stay
Yeah,
fit. I don't. I
he was
don't
not
feel like.
100%.
I mean, he struggled. I think it was a Newcastle game last season. Varane struggled, but that was his first game back from injury. So I don't feel like Varane's done something wrong, whereas Maguire's done many things wrong. I
Yeah.
don't dislike Maguire, but yeah, I would have started with Varane and Martinez yesterday. I think my team yesterday would have been. Well, I would have obviously started with De Gea because we've decided to keep him. I would have had De Gea. I would have gone with Delort, Varane, Martinez. I'd have had Malacia at left back. The midfield three, I'd have had Fred, Van der Beek, Eriksen, and then up front, yeah, that's where I'd have changed it. Probably just had to gone with Rashford, Sancho, and Bruno. Bruno in the midfield three, Eriksen left, Rashford down the middle. That's what I'd have done.
All right, but Barcelona planning to take legal action. We all know, we have heard about it. Thanks a lot for sharing, Vishal bhai. Pratik bhai says, why can't ETS film Martinez as CDM? The thing is, all of a sudden you get a player from Ajax, he still, it was visible that he was struggling as well. It was the first game, he was getting used to the pace and physicality of the PL. So you cannot expect all of a sudden to someone to get in and start playing as a CDM. CDM, I think with this United midfield, CDM is even a harder role than being a centre back at this point of time. Because when you look at the midfield and you are trying to pass the ball across, there is no one to take the ball from you. You know, because no one is expecting you. We have seen in the game, in the Brighton game, Sebastian, Martinez was looking for players up front, like 2 or 3 times. He was trying for the straight ball, over the head. There was no movement, no one up there, no one, and he
I would
just
say.
simply passed it back to Maguire.
That's why I would have. That's why I would have. Sorry, that's why I'd have had Eriksen to the left. I'd have had Rashford down the middle, Sancho right. Because if you had Eriksen on the left, you still have that control of the game, and you'd have had the pace down the middle with Rashford. Because you have to have something to aim for. Like you said, Martinez was looking for that pass, and there was no one to aim for, and that's the problem. I know Rashford's not particularly good in the air, but at least if you have someone to aim for there with the pace, someone who can run at the defence. He could have done the same job like Welbeck was doing for Brighton. Welbeck was a constant threat in behind, and he was giving Maguire a lot of problems. And Maguire played him onside, didn't he? So, that led to a goal. So I think we could have done with a pace down the middle. I think Ten Hag will have learned a lot yesterday. I really think he will have
Exactly.
learned a lot, which is a good thing. Hopefully he won't play Fred and McTominay again.
Exactly. Comments thought on new Argentinian. I don't think we are getting linked to any DM. Ashish Bhai, I don't think we are getting linked to any DM. Not from trusted sources. We get linked with like 100 people every day. You know. So let's see how that goes. You need a 0 out of 10 poll. I think since we got two midfielders in, sorry, one midfielder and a centre back in, that's why I started with three. Otherwise, I would have started with 2 or 0. So in the poll. So how much do you think is going to be? For me, it's like a 3 or now that we are getting those two players, I have dropped my transfer rating from 4 to 3 now. Because they are not upgrading us, they are basically downgrading us, and that too
I
after
think
we pay money.
No, I think it's been a mess, like a complete mess. I mean, yeah, we've taken far too long. We shouldn't have gone into the season in this position. I understand the Ronaldo saga was a bit out of our control because it seemed like Ronaldo was going to stay, and then he ended up obviously telling us that he's going to leave. So I understand that was a bit of a problem. But the other deals, they shouldn't have been. They shouldn't have been like this. We should have gone into that first game with a proper midfield, with a proper attacker. Like I said earlier, we haven't got that big signing. We haven't signed anybody. We haven't signed the big player that we needed. Even Chelsea fans, like at least they could look at their team, their new team. As Chelsea were terrible, by the way. I watched the Chelsea game;
Exactly,
they were awful.
absolutely terrible.
But at least they had Sterling. At least they had Koulibaly to
Yeah,
say, yeah, that's two
yeah,
like big players that we brought in. Kukurea came on. At least they're showing some ambition. Arsenal, at least they had Jesus at something. I would have took Gabriel Jesus over Arnautovic. you know, it's
exactly.
just
All right. I will be taking, this question comes up across, very, very often. So promoting McNeil, I think he should be promoted now. It's better to promote someone like McNeil who will play with much more hunger than the likes of Arnautovic, at the age of 34.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wouldn't. At the same time, I don't want to throw too many youngsters in right now when the club is in a bad situation. But I would rather see a
Yeah.
youngster than Arnautovic. So definitely, and I think Garnacho as well. Like, I'd rather just go with Garnacho for a season, let him learn, than play Arnautovic up front. I cannot for the life of me understand that one at all.
All right. So we are linked to Goidi Rodriguez from Real Betis. I have no idea at this point of time how true it is. Mark, welcome to the stream. Mark says I would have Ronaldo up front. Reason Mark he didn't start it because he's not 100%. Otherwise, without Martial, he should have he would have started for sure. And guys, the Frenkie de Jong update is Chelsea is willing to pay the deferred payment. So that's the update on Frenkie de Jong. They are willing to pay the deferred payment, but they're also waiting to see how basically this entire saga folds up. At this point of time, Barcelona is talking about doing a lawsuit on Frenkie de Jong if he's not taking a pay cut. They are saying they have evidence that the previous deal given to him was absolute bogus. So basically, they are undermining themselves and they are undermining the contract. So let's see how that goes. And Barcelona steady as hell. Leonard, we all know that. And you guys says I may be wrong, but Maguire was bad yesterday too. He was, I won't say bad, but he was, bang average. Just above, you can say bad. He was out of position. He was not. He started a bit well, but after that he just faded in the second half. He in the last 10 minutes he's made sure that we are keeping the ball. He was trying to get forward. Just it. He was out of position, and that's where he falters. All the time. All the time he is waiting for someone else to cover for him. So
Yeah.
what do you think? What do you think, Sebastian?
Yeah,
Maguire.
Maguire yesterday, I felt like there was no lack of effort. He started, and to be fair, we started the game well. The first 10 minutes we started really well, and Maguire was bringing the ball out from the back, and he played some decent passes actually. Like he switched play quite well, and yeah, he started the game well, but ultimately he was the one playing the player on side for the goal. So that's obviously a problem. We know about his lack of pace. So
Yeah.
difficult with Maguire. Yeah, I would have started with Varane. I don't think he was bad yesterday. I think the problem is that there's no protection. Maguire and Martinez
Yeah.
had no protection. We didn't stop the way that Brighton were playing. We didn't stop that ball over the top. There was no that was the only worrying thing which Ten Hag said in his interview. He said about the fact that he didn't expect that from Brighton. So that's where we have to change mid-game, and that's not just Ten Hag, that's the players. If you don't expect something and it's
Exactly.
happening mid-game, you need to stop it. You don't just
Exactly.
say, after the game, oh yeah, we didn't expect that, so we couldn't adapt. No, you need to adapt. You need to say,
No,
okay, maybe
I
we need
also,
to drop
yeah.
deeper.
Yeah, so that's I one point that I also wanted to make, but I will take this comment first from Niloy. From Sesko to Arnautovic and FDG to Rabiot again, 2013 and 2020 vibes. We are total spend, 65 million and we are doomed. Absolutely doomed. But getting back to the game, I was so frustrated because of the substitutions that we made.
Hmm.
Why did we kept on playing McTominay and Fred even in the beginning of the second half? They should have been easily replaced, got someone like Donny because we are already 2 goals down. We
Yeah.
are already 2 goals down. The only way from there was going to be up. Even if they scored one, we have to fill up the pitch with that, attacking players so that we have a chance to score. Why did they keep on playing? I have no idea. Garnacho over Rashford, I think this is just a matter of time if Rashford is not improving. What do you think, Sebastian?
Yeah, we've gone actually, yeah, a matter of time. I think with Rashford, he's basically got this year to prove himself, hasn't he? So,
Yeah.
he just has to prove himself and see how he gets on. But no, I agree about the substitutes. I think the thing is with a manager, you have to remember managers have a big ego, and obviously we want that. And I'm not
Yeah.
criticizing Ten Hag for it, but I think he's almost said to the players, go out there and play better. Like he's almost said to them,
Exactly.
I'm not changing you. You go out there and you perform better than you did in the first half. So I kind of understand it only from that perspective, but. Yeah, I would have took McTominay off. McTominay, I think he was on a yellow card as well. He could have been sent off, which was stupid.
Exactly.
And I would have taken
And that would have looked
yeah.
so stupid at that point of time.
Wow.
That would have looked like so stupid on eriktenhag for letting him stay on the pitch. Because with McTominay, we know that he is, spectacle to when you go to challenges. He might not win it. Even if he's winning it, there's always a chance of having that, second yellow card or even the yellow card. He got the first one. He was always vulnerable to the second one.
Yeah, especially with a player like McTominay who doesn't use his brain on a football pitch. The other thing which I thought was strange was we made 3 substitutes in stoppage time, and that
Exactly.
5 minutes of stoppage time, we didn't have the ball for like a minute. That ball was
Yeah.
in the corner and we couldn't get it back for 5 minutes, and I felt like that was stupid because it stopped the momentum as well. So that was strange, but. I think Ten Hag knows. I think he knows deep down he got it wrong. I think he's given the players a chance. I think he said to Luke Shaw, right, here's your chance. McTominay, Fred, here's your chance. And they've let him down. So next game, he needs to go. If we want to keep the ball, fine. If we want to play Ten Hag's way, great. That's what I want. But we have to get Van der Beek in that midfield because he can control the game much better than Fred and McTominay. We have to go with Malacia. There's no point in going with Luke Shaw again. We know Luke Shaw is not good enough. What is the point?
Exactly. This is a good point made by, Tushar. United should promote Iqbal and Charlie instead of signing Rabiot. When you have such talented midfielders that even the manager was raving about, and all of a sudden, rather than taking a risk, you are going with an absolutely washed player with a ego of like, Ibrahimovic and Ronaldo, with an agent like Raiola. And all of a sudden, you are talking about changing the team culture and you are back to square one with the signings of Arnautovic and Rabiot. So what are they trying to achieve in the transfer market? I don't understand. But this is a funny one. Crucifix says, I would rather McTominay stay and get a red card. I think that was the plan all along by, Eriktenhag.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, honestly, it'd probably be the best thing, wouldn't it? Honestly, I'm not looking forward to the Liverpool game in a couple of weeks with Darwin Núñez of his pace in behind because the way we let we made Danny Welbeck, we made him look like prime Samuel Eto'o yesterday.
Exactly.
It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
That's what I am talking about. That's what Leonard is saying as well. Rabiot is a mommy's bird, definitely. Louis Van Gaal first game as a United manager lost, GTH manager lost. That romance continues. At this point of time, whoever is our manager, he's set for doom. Simple as that. McTominay is a footballer and he's the biggest fraud. All right. Gaurav is saying we just didn't do anything in the center of the midfield to really push out Brighton team. Exactly. I'm still trying to understand, why keep on staying with, McFred. I think this was the only game I think they're going to start against Brentford. We might see Donny van der Beek starting the way he played after coming in, for the last 15 minutes. Everything it was going through him. The forward passing, the one touch passing with, Eriksen. So just I cannot believe that guy don't deserve at least a run of 10 games to be judged upon. He is being judged upon for 40 minutes, for 15 minutes, for 20 minutes. In the meanwhile, there are still people who are defending McFred.
Yeah.
It's one point. We are not here to bash every mistake that they made, but how can we keep a blind eye when they are doing it every time? Every time.
Yeah, I don't mind us losing a game of football. I wouldn't have minded us losing yesterday if we had Malacia on the pitch and if we had Donny on the pitch and if we actually tried to play the way that Ten Hag wants. But I think that's the thing. I think Ten Hag kind of yesterday, he wanted to just give those players that chance. Like he wanted to give those players who, from last season that one chance and it hasn't worked. It's backfired. And now he needs to be ruthless because it's pointless. We need to control the tempo. If we're going to lose, that's fine. Okay, we can lose, but at least lose trying to play the way that you want to play because you're never going to play Ten Hag football with Fred and McTominay. So if you're going to lose, at least lose by playing players that you want to play your system,
Exactly. That was my point as well. That at least, I have no point. I am not saying that you guys, go out and win all the 38 games. You are not going to win all the 38 games. But at least, you are playing at home. There is a team who is basically without 3 of their best players. No Mope, no Cucurella, no, Bissouma in the midfield. And someone like Caicedo and Lallana is basically dominating you. How are you going to justify that? I have no idea. In the meanwhile, Sambabai, welcome to the stream. Donny was even sharper than Eriksen. Definitely, because Donny is, a bit fitter than Eriksen at this point of time. That's why I think he was much more sharper. Shiniti says, let's Kim McTominay just to injure Haaland. The best contribution throughout the season. What do you think, Sebastian?
Yeah, I saw Haaland talking. I think he said about wanting to play against United. I think he will enjoy playing against us if we play like we did yesterday.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's just going to be one of them. Yeah, not nice.
And this is, I think, that's our midfield how it should line up in the next game. Donny and Eriksen in the middle of the park. And if you need some covering, all right, play Eriksen a bit up front, because the way Bruno at this point of time, he is not far away from dropping as well.
Yeah.
People defend Bruno, people bash Bruno. I am not going to bash him, but he needs a reality check at this point of time. What do you think, Sebastian?
Yeah, the worrying thing was for me with Bruno was, I think it was last season where he did that interview with Sky where he started saying like everyone is picking on Bruno, everyone says it's only Bruno scores penalties, and it came across as like a self-pity interview, and I didn't like that, because I'm sorry, but with football players you have to learn, you get a lot of praise, you have a big salary, and sometimes people will criticize you. That's life. Someone will criticize you sometimes, and you have to be able to deal with that. You're playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world. Man United is a massive institution. What do you expect? You're not always going to have praise. Everyone's not always going to sit there and say, well done, Bruno. So I think that was what worried me with him. And yeah, I just think he needs to toughen up a bit. I think he's getting pushed off the ball too much. He needs to go back to playing it simple. It's the same with Rashford. When you look at Bruno, he looks too stressed. Like when he missed that chance yesterday.
Yeah.
Just take your time. When Bruno first came, he would have buried that, wouldn't
he? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And obviously, I don't think Sebastian is going to defend the front three. I am not going to defend the front three. But I'm just saying that if you are not doing anything in the game, for 60, 65 minutes, all of a sudden you get a chance. They need them to convert, obviously. But I am not going to bash them for missing a volley.
Yeah.
Rashford, the volley that he tried, it could have gone in. It could have gone in. It just went out. I am going to bash him for the chance that he didn't take. Ronaldo looked onside. If he could have slotted it in, we might have gone for a VAR check, and it might have come across as a goal. So at this point of time, lot of ifs and buts, but we have to understand that this club, I think is not going in the right direction. Everyone knows, but the signings, I think everyone, the names Rabiot and Arnautovic has riled up everyone. Sebastian, I think that's the way to put up, riled up every United fan, and that's the comment. I don't know how ETS has approved Arnautovic or Rabiot. I think it stinks of Glazers calling the shot. What do you think, Sebastian?
Yeah, I completely agree with that comment. All four of those players are much better than Fred, McTominay, or Rabiot. Paulinho, I talked about him. When I watched him in the, I think it was the Euros, it's the first time I saw him. He was absolutely brilliant. And I can't believe that Fulham have got him, and then we're going to sign someone like Rabiot. It's just, baffling. I think this is the thing. I remember at the start of the window, it looked like we were going to get Nunes. And then I heard the name Richarlison, and I was disappointed. I thought, I don't want Richarlison. He's not good enough. And now, my God, I would take Richarlison. God, I would take him over Arnautovic. I can't believe it's like we've just gone from A, B, straight down to Z. I honestly,
this is came out of nowhere. Nowhere. Somehow is saying I am done with this club. 12 years, followed this for 12 years. Several managers. See, till the time Glazers are there, if we are having huge expectations, but even this is lower by the standard of the Glazers. Arnautovic and Rabiot in the year 2022. Year 2022, and we are going after the likes of Rabiot and Arnautovic. Sanjay Bhai is saying Rashford and Martial 8th season. I don't want to see them United in shirt next season if they don't improve, and Bruno too. I think too harsh on Bruno to not be in a United shirt next season. But yeah, Rashford and Martial, I think they will be sent packing if they're not improving this season. Simple as that.
Yeah. Well, we'd have to sign some forwards, wouldn't we, to replace them? This is the problem. I still can't believe we haven't signed a forward. Like, not even somebody who's young and some potential. When you look at the players that we've missed out on now, like even Scamacca would be an improvement, wouldn't he? on the players that we're linked to currently. I can't believe how bad it's gone this summer now. It's no joke. It was one thing making us wait until the start of the season to have these signings, but then after losing to link us to two such average players, it's just like a really big kick in the teeth, isn't it? It really is.
Exactly. Kaushik says even Andres Pereira is better than Rabiot. The way Andres played in the first game against Liverpool, he was basically showing us, that what, guys, you called me preseason furlough, but here you look, I am basically dominating Liverpool. He literally did that. He was everywhere in the first game. Andreas Pereira, I was trying to, see that whether he is Andres or someone else, and he was everywhere. He was basically on the wings. He was at the number 10 position. He was also in the midfield getting the ball back. And I was like, what happened to this guy? What happened to this guy? So
that's what it was like in pre-season. But I think there was one summer where Leicester wanted him, and we should have sold him then, and they were willing to pay about 20 million, and we didn't do it. But
yeah.
that's another thing that we don't do well. We never make any money on transfers, do we? So
but this is Andres Pereira. I think Sebastian is our best sell. Best piece of business we can say in terms of selling. He got us money on loan, and he got us a good transfer fee as well. So our best sell in like what you can say like 3-4 years after Lukaku. So
yeah, I mean, we just don't sell well, do we? We really don't. It's another big problem. But yeah, the club is in such a mess. It really is. It's
Gardner should get a chance. Is saying Sebastian. I think we all can see that he deserves a chance. What do you think?
Yeah, Garner. Yeah, he can't do any worse than McTominay and Fred, can he? At least he's brave on the ball. When he played in the friendly the other day, he was brave. He tried to get on the ball. He tries to make things happen. It's obviously, it's probably not the answer, and it's not the ideal time to chuck him in. But I think what we need to do, if it was me, what I would do in the Europa League this year, that's where I'd play Hannibal. That's where I'd play Garner. Get them in the Europa League in the group stages.
Exactly.
Because realistically, if they're not good enough to win Europa League games, then it's clear that they're not good enough for the Prem.
Exactly.
So you can find out everything. Maybe in the latter stages of the Europa League, that's when you bring back the first team. But I think in the Europa League, it's a great chance to play players like Garner, Iqbal, Hannibal. Give them a chance. It's the perfect chance to do it.
All right. Venkatesh, thanks a lot for the super sticker. First of all, before that, there was a question. Sebastian, do you think team was not comfortable because we played with a set of players like Rassi, Martial? In the preseason, we can say that Martial leaving the team at the last moment because of injury. I think that has definitely affected the way we were trying to get our first lineup up front. So I think that has taken us back just a bit. But then we are United. You are not playing against Liverpool or City in the first game. It's Brighton. And you can win the game against Brighton without Anthony Martial. He was not even in the plans for this season. Just because he had a great preseason, everyone all of a sudden wanted him. So
yeah, I think it was a bit of a myth this pre-season, this great pre-season. Okay, we played well against Liverpool that day, but that wasn't Liverpool's best team, was it? And then it wasn't like we were great against Vallecano. We were terrible. And against Atletico, we lost. So it wasn't. I don't know that we did have such a great pre-season that everyone's talking about. Yeah, we saw some improvement in the first couple of games, but it was clear to anyone who knows about football, it was pretty clear that Martial was probably going to get injured at some point, and that we're going to need a backup. And I keep talking about it, but we need a left-footed player up there. We are too one-dimensional. It's so obvious what we are going to do. It's so obvious what we're going to do the whole time. Sancho stuck out on the right, Rashford on the left. We need to change it up. We need a left-footed option. We've needed it for years. Someone like Mahrez when he was at Leicester, we should have gone for him then. We never did it. We need to go for Anthony. I don't care how much Anthony costs. I don't care. We need to go for him. We need to sign him.
I think we are not going for him, Sebastian. And I think we need him, but I don't think we have any reason to be desperate about, if we are going and paying for Anthony like 100 million, all of a sudden, you will have to pay like 150 million for De Jong. Because for me, that deal is still not dead. We are still in a chance. And he says, great stream. I will take your leave. Nishbhai, thanks a lot for joining in. Stay safe.
Hello.
And Vishal is saying this red on Sky Sports, Rabiot and De Jong both coming to United. Guys, no one has said at this point of time that De Jong deal won't happen. The news that is coming is Chelsea is also looking to sign De Jong. They are willing to pay the deferred wage, and in that case, we will be the second team. Simple as that. In that case, we will be the second team. So, suppose Sebastian, we both are paying, United as well as Chelsea. They both are willing to pay the deferred wage payment. Where do you think Frenkie de Jong is going to sign?
Difficult. I think he wants. I do think he wants to stay at Barcelona. I don't think that's a joke. I can't understand why we would have been there for 3 months, but then I can't understand why we're buying Arnautovic. So maybe we did. Maybe Richard Arnold and Murta. Maybe they just wanted to spend 3 months in Barcelona, sunning it up. Maybe they've just been there having a good time. So, this is the thing. I really don't understand what the hell we are doing with that De Jong deal, because we that will be the most ridiculous deal in history if we've been there for that long without an assurance that he's going to join. I don't mind if he stays at Barcelona so much, but if he was to join Chelsea, I would have serious questions for Arnold, Murta, and Ten Hag, because I'd be saying to Ten Hag, well, you've been waiting for this player, you must have had a yes or no from him. Exactly. So I think everyone's to blame if De Jong doesn't come, all of them. And I think it's clear, why didn't we just go for Neves, like people in the chat said? Why didn't we go for Ruiz? Why didn't we go for Paulinho, Neves, Tielemans? There's so many good players out there, Premier League proven. But no, we're going to go for Rabiot, whose mother is his agent, who's got a terrible attitude. When we've already got a squad full of players with crap attitudes, why do we want to add more players with terrible attitudes? I can't understand it. I really can't.
I know. Simon is saying, man is power, saying Frenkie de Jong ruined the summer. Vishal Bhai is saying, the upper hand Chelsea got is Champions League, but then we have eriktenhag to counter it. So let's see. Gaurav Bhai is saying Ahmad staying as backup to Sancho makes sense over Elanga. Both Elanga and Ahmad makes no sense. I think both the players are not ready for Premier League just yet. They needed loan, but just because we are so short on options, we have to keep them. I think both deserve the loan. So.
Yeah, I don't think Elanga should be loaned for this, because I don't think he'll improve necessarily. I think Elanga is what he is, and he's of that age where I think Diallo could improve on a loan. But do you see what I mean? With Elanga, he's kind of a bit like Dan James. He's got like certain attributes, and I don't think that will change. I think Elanga is just Elanga. He'll always be quick, and he'll always be an option. Like in the Atletico Madrid game, he was a good option when he scored that goal. He came on and he scored, and against Leeds away, he did the same. So he can be that option. I don't think Elanga is going to be one of those players who necessarily improves that much. I think he is just what he is. You either take him for what he is or you don't,
All right. So Danish says, when West Ham pressed City, they slowed pace of the game and got possession, scored on well. We didn't try it. And as I said, the substitutions for me made no sense. Should have been done earlier than the usual time. And giving them 5 minutes to 3 youngsters in the 90th minute, I was just a bit baffled. Even if we're giving them, at least give them 15 minutes where they can try, they can feel the ball on their feet and then they can go for it. So for the next game, guys, I am going to talk about the next game lineup. What do you think we should make the changes in our lineup? Put in the comment section. In the meanwhile, Sebastian, what do you think we should do with the lineup in the next game? How many changes? Which player to come in for whom?
Obviously, it depends on who's fit, depends on a lot of things, and what happens with Ronaldo this week depends a lot on that. If it becomes clear that he's going to stay, then I think you play Ronaldo. But if it becomes clear that he's going to leave, then I'd rather go with a youngster. So we have a lot of things to wait on. But yeah, Brentford are a physical team. They've got pace in good areas. They've got good fullbacks. Ivan Toney's going to be a problem in the midfield. So I think, if it's me, all I want, no matter what the lineup is, I want us to be brave and try to play Ten Hag's way.
Exactly.
Because we started hiding against Brighton, and that's pointless. If we're gonna have a new way of playing, go for it and stick to it. So put Malacia in, put Donny van der Beek in the midfield, and try to play that way, because it will take time. It took time under Pep when Pep was in the Premier League. In his first season at Man City, he struggled. So it will take time for us to play that way, but we need to stick with it. So stick to our principles, get Van der Beek in there, try to play the Ten Hag style, get Malacia on the pitch, and at least have those two starting. I think that's a definite for me. Malacia has to start, and Donny van de Beek has to start in central midfield. Eriksen has to start, of course.
I think for me the 2 or 3 changes that I want to see in this team is Malacia definitely.
Yeah.
He gets in for Luke Shaw straight away. McTominay, Fred, dump them. Just dump them. You are not going to do any worse than them. Play Donny and play Eriksen. Two players who will also try to get the ball back, and you won't have to deal with much of ball winning back because they won't be losing the ball as much as the McFred midfield partnership does. So midfield of Donny van de Beek and Eriksen, and then we have front three of Bruno, Sancho, Rashford, and then start Ronaldo up front because he will be needed because they have three centre backs. And even if we are having, we are making those crosses, we need someone over there. So without Martial, he starts straight away. So I think at least 4 changes for me. The McFred partnership goes out. Malacia for Shaw, that's 3, and uh, the fourth one. Uh, sorry, these are 3 changes. Sorry, Eriksen already started, so he just gets in a bit deeper. So 3 changes: Malacia for Shaw, Ronaldo comes in for McTominay basically, and Van der Beek comes for Fred. So these are my 3. And Leonard is saying, De Gea out for Heaton. I think that's not going to happen in my opinion tomorrow. At least tomorrow.
If we had a young, I understand
Yeah.
I understand what he's saying, because Heaton is better in many ways, but De Gea is obviously the better shot stopper, but Heaton's better physically, and for a game like tomorrow, Heaton could come in and probably actually do a better job. But the point is, obviously we're going to go with De Gea this season. We know that, but we need the next young goalkeeper who's physical as well. We obviously need a new goalkeeper, but for this season, I think, to be honest, it's probably pointless talking about it because De Gea will play this season, whether we like it, whether he's the ideal goalkeeper or not for the future. I think that's up for debate, but he is going to play this season. But I found it so interesting to watch De Gea trying to play out from the back. I really found that interesting because, he kicked it out for a throw-in, and I'm not going to criticize him because at least he tried. At least he tried, and we have to be patient. So, I'll be patient with De Gea, but it is quite funny to watch because he's so used to just kicking it up the pitch.
Exactly.
So that was funny to watch.
All right. So Simon is saying give Ronaldo the captain, Sam. But to be very honest, after how he behaved, in the preseason, I'm not going to give this man the captaincy of United. I would rather give it to Bruno. At least he is not performing that well, but he is going to stay even beyond the next season. So I would rather give it to Bruno than giving it to Ronaldo. So according to you, captaincy Ronaldo, or keep it with Maguire, or give it to Bruno? What do you think?
No, I think Ten Hag ultimately he's gone with Maguire now, so to change it now would be a bit crazy. But I think if he was going to change it, he had to change it in the summer. But he's gone with Maguire. I don't think that should mean that Maguire starts every week.
Exactly.
Because if he's not playing well, he shouldn't start. But
100%.
Yeah, that's an interesting team that's just come up there.
Yeah. I was looking at that as well, Varane, Martinez. I won't mind if Varane gets in straight away. Then we have Malacia, Donny, Bruno, Eriksen, Sancho, Garnacho, and Ronaldo. I won't be surprised the way Rashford is not feeling himself at this moment. If he's not performing for the first 5 games, I think we won't. Looking at the first 5-6 games, where we have to play Liverpool and City, in the first 7-8 games, I don't think we are going to risk someone like Garnacho. But then after those 8 games, for the next 7-8 games, we might take a risk. We might take a punt with someone like Garnacho. What do you think, Sebastian?
Yeah, I think Rashford will start for a while because he's I mean, he just will. He will. He's been playing all preseason, so Rashford is going to start. And I think Rashford deserves 10 games to see how he gets on. He deserves it. But if he's not working hard, take him off. Obviously, if his work rate stops, then I'd take him straight off. But I think Rashford deserves a chance, and I think Garnacho can also come on down the middle as well, depending on what happens with our striking options. So, it's not an easy one. This is the problem. This is the problem for Ten Hag. He's been left in such a difficult position because, we're trying to work out the midfield because we don't want Fred or McTominay. So we're trying to work out a midfield. But realistically, a midfield of Eriksen, Van der Beek and Bruno as a 3, okay, it's nice in some ways, but who's going to win the ball back? I know that they'll try, but realistically, are they going to win the ball back enough? Probably not. So we still need that player who's going to win the ball back. So, realistically, it probably will be one of Fred or McTominay, or if not, then try Garner. Try him.
Exactly.
Can't
There
do
is
any worse.
absolutely no point giving McFred game after game after game.
No,
When
you
you
can't
have
play
someone
both
like
of them.
Arnold who has come up with such a terrific loan, and don't forget that guy played every game, and he was, and people don't realize that championship is more physical than the Premier League because they lack a technicality, so they go with physicality.
Yeah.
So he is basically getting butchered out there, and that guy is still performing. Coming up with assist, winning the ball back, interceptions, everything. So if we take out Maguire of captaincy, then Bruno is the ideal choice. I feel that way as well. Malin is saying you're right. Sebastian Maguire is not a sure starter. No one should be sure starter in this United team. Because you are not consistent enough to demand that you should be a sure shot starter. What do you think, Sebastian?
No, I agree with Marlene. I think the point is if you let anyone feel like they can just get in the team, it's not a good thing. There always needs to be competition for places, doesn't there? So, yeah, I think Maguire shouldn't just be able to walk in the team because he's captain. They're obviously going to go with him for a few games, but yeah, I think we've all seen the meme yesterday, haven't we? Of Varane and Ronaldo sat next to each other, saying, why did we leave Real Madrid? And I think it's quite crazy actually that Varane's not even starting for Manchester United
No,
now.
I think we talked about it, Sebastian. I think it was
Yeah,
a fitness issue. That
yeah,
he was not feeling himself 100%. Otherwise, there is no way you bench Varane over someone like Maguire. It's not like he's getting benched by Van der Beek, or he's getting benched by someone like Ruben Diaz. It's not like that. So moving on, LMFC beat Halifax 5-1. No one gives a shit about 5-1. Venkatesh Bhai. These bunch of players will show up against Brentford, and they will be like looking totally out of place. Samir Bhai, the criticism of Rashford is not about the runs. It's about his finishing. It's about his finishing. He is making all the right runs, but then when you look at the finishing, as I said, I am not going to bash him, I am not going to criticize him for the chance that he missed because the volley. But then you look at the one-on-one which Ronaldo set up on the platter, he should have scored, and then let the VAR check whether it was going to be on or off. If you are not putting the ball in the net, whether it's on or off, no one cares. You have to put the ball inside the net, and then we can talk about you know being it's an offside or non offside, so whatever it is.
yeah, definitely.
Yes, sorry, it's totally fine. Just take care of yourself and be good. Aniket is saying, Sebastian, just take this comment.
Yeah, I've had that feeling a lot as well. I wish I could just sit next to the Glazers sometimes, and yeah, because no, the thing is about the Glazers, they spend so much money and they just waste it, and it's so frustrating because they could spend it so much more wisely. It's like he's saying there. He's given a list of players. Julian Alvarez, when Ralph Ranick said, he said in January, Julian Alvarez is available for 12 million. He's one of the
Yeah,
best young strikers in Argentina. Go and sign him. And our board said, nah, we won't bother, And this is the problem. We never go and we're not creative, are we? We never go and get some interesting player that that people don't know about. Like Casido yesterday, who was playing for Brighton. He was much
yeah,
better than Fred and McTominay.
exactly.
We could have took a chance on him, but no, of course we can't do
5
that.
million. 5 million.
Yeah, 5 million. Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
You
He
are
would have
paying
cost
more
5
than
million.
that to Jones for sitting in the hospital.
Yeah, exactly. Casido 5 million, Alvarez 12 million. Both of them would walk into our team, but we won't buy them because they're from South America. Well, who cares? If they're talented players and you have scouts in South America, your scouts should know that these players are good enough.
I
It's not
was I was
complicated.
to be very honest, Sebastian. I was not a huge admirer of Julian Alvarez.
Hmm.
Reason being, coming from uh, as a fan, when you watch them, you have a totally different perception. All right, and when as a scout or as a manager, when a player is being suggested, to the board, you have to look at him in a totally different way. So when
Hmm.
I'm looking at a fan with the history that we have with South American players, I am a bit skeptical, with the likes of what they have done with our club. But at the same time, you know as I said, if even if we have gone for someone like Alvarez, we
Yeah,
needed a bit senior striker as well.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
Alvarez would have taken time, and all that Ronaldo drama just started to happen. So there are so many ifs and buts. In the meanwhile, Jay is saying, hearing Rabiot and Arnautovic rumors makes me feel more sick. Can see what level we have stooped to. So, I think it's known to everybody. It's not even, a topic for debate at this point of time.
yeah.
Rabiot can be a smart signing. Absolutely not. That guy is basically the French version of McTominay, even bad at this point of time. At this point of time, he is basically the second highest earner in Syria. Barely starts, the important games, and the tantrums, as I said, tantrums of Ronaldo and skills of McTominay at this point of time. That's what he's all about. So smart signing, I absolutely don't agree. Sebastian, do you think he can be a smart signing?
No, 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 no. No, I don't want Rabiot. I don't want Arnautovic. Neither of them. Genuinely like. I'll be disappointed in Ten Hag if he says okay to those deals. He shouldn't. He should say no. I don't
Exactly.
want them because they are not. Those two players are not good enough for Manchester United. I'd rather sign nobody than just pay some players to play for us. It's utterly pointless. It's really not worth doing. If you're going to spend the
Exactly.
money, at least spend it on someone with some potential or someone exciting, not just two players that we know are not good enough.
Exactly. That I have no point if you are going for someone like someone talented for like 20-25 million. Not
Yeah,
this piece of shit. Someone like Rabiot, as I said, you also know, the entire world knows. So Simon says McTominay had a terrible match. Even Ronaldo, when he came on, he did nothing, Simon. So it's one point that we are bashing. So when we are bashing, we should bash everyone for being mediocre. Even after Ronaldo came, he had what, 35 minutes. What he did? He did nothing. You know. So McTominay, we can say he had a terrible game. Everyone saw it. Why he was on the pitch till 75th minute, no idea. I would never understand. As we joked about, even eriktenhag was hoping for a red card so that he get at least a game suspension. But what do you think about this? A terrible match. Ronaldo must be sweating. I think people, Sebastian, before you take the comment, I think people, everything relates to Ronaldo for no reason. I don't know why. Simon makes all the good points. But not everything has to be related to Ronaldo.
no, that's the unfortunately Ronaldo is such a big player, isn't it? Such a big name that it always will be, and this is the problem for Ten Hag.
Yeah.
I think this is the issue. But the thing is with Ronaldo, like I said, if it's Ronaldo or Arnautovic, you keep Ronaldo. At least he'll definitely score you the goals. But in an ideal world, I think it would have been easier if we could have moved him on and got in a young pressing striker. But really, I'm
Exactly.
running out. I'm running out of options. We've looked now at everybody. We've missed out on Alvarez. We've missed out on Nunes. We've missed out on Sesko. We missed out on Vlahovic. The only strikers there are strikers left, but the list is getting shorter, isn't it? In terms of young,
Exactly.
hungry
I
pressing
don't
strikers.
think there is a list left. Kamaka was there. Sesko was there. So
There's a
we can
couple, but
understand. Yeah. We can
yeah, they're not
understand how
they're
to
not
play
cheap.
for Nunez makes no sense. But what are you going to say about Kamaka and Sesko?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, we've missed Sesko. Sesko, to be fair, I don't think there's much you can do with that. If he wants
Exactly.
to go to Leipzig, there's not much you can do. To be fair to Sesko, for his development, it's probably clever to go to Leipzig for 2 seasons, like Haaland did. Haaland went to Dortmund. He didn't come straight to the Premier League. So I
Yeah.
understand. I don't mind that we've missed out on Sesko in the sense that he wasn't really one who we could necessarily get. But the other players, yeah, Skamaka, we could have easily got. He's gone to West Ham, so that's one that we missed out on, and we just have no plan. That's the bigger issue. There's never seems to be a plan. There are other strikers out there. There are lots of good young strikers, but because we don't take a chance on these other leagues. We don't scout well. We're never going to find them, are we? Okay, you've got Osimhen, you've got Lautaro Martinez, but they're going to cost big money. So that's again, but we haven't spent. This is the point. If we're going to buy a Rabiot for, I don't know, 10 million or whatever it is, we still haven't spent the big money on a transfer. So why shouldn't we go and get a big player? We need to go and get someone big who's going to make a difference. We need to get that big
Exactly.
signing. We haven't got one yet, have we?
Exactly. Mota is worse than Woodward. Even Watford couldn't go for Rabiot. We are just panic buying, and that's why I say, I smell, Glazers all over again in this transfer as well as Arnautovic's transfer.
Yeah.
So Srinidhi says, I strongly feel McTominay is used because I don't think so. I have absolutely no idea from where this notion comes from that he is playing because Sir Alex and Fletcher is there. I absolutely don't understand this notion. If that was the case, with Eriktenhag in, you know, uh, Donny van de Beek, he should have started from the first minute to the 90th minute.
Yeah, or Chong, because he's Dutch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even John would have started. So Srinidhi, I don't understand where this notion comes from. You know that just because he's Scottish, he's playing. So if there is American owners, we should have likes of Pulisic, Dempsey, Donovan, all of them playing for United and having a lifetime contract. So
Yeah.
I don't understand Jose Altidore. He also played in Premier League. So get him as well. So I don't understand this notion, to be very honest, that he is playing because
I
it's just we
no.
don't have any options.
No, the only, and this was another thing that I didn't like, and I obviously every United fan, we love Sir Alex Ferguson, we love him, and I'm so glad that he's healthy now, and I literally love the bloke. But why is he getting involved with the Ronaldo transfer? It's kind of undermining for Ten Hag, and again, it's like we need to move away from Ferguson. We can't keep going back to the past all the time. He shouldn't be involved. It should be a clear new structure, new plan. We shouldn't keep harping back to the days of Sir Alex because it's pointless. We can't go back to those days. As much as we'd love to, we can't, unfortunately.
All right, Sebastian, this question you can start, then I will reply to this.
To protecting the board, no, I don't think he should be protecting the board. I think he will protect the board. That's normal. I think the only time that you don't do that is when you're Ralph Rangnick and you know that you're leaving and you start telling
Exactly.
everyone everything. Or a bit like Jose towards the end. Jose
Exactly.
made it pretty clear that I think it was against West Ham where Jose put McTominay at centre back and I think Fellaini and those times that can happen. So yeah, I don't think he should be protecting the board, but he will because that's what they have to do, unfortunately.
Exactly. He is employed over here, so I don't think we are.
Yeah.
Jay bhai, I think you are very wrong on this. I will take your comment. Uh, you talked about Revio will at least give his 200%. I don't think Revio ever gave his 200%. He never gave his 200%. That guy, as I said, is basically Pogba 2.0. With less skills, and you can say even more attitude than Pogba. You know, so I don't know where have you seen him putting 200%. I have watched him week after week. Whenever he has played for Juventus, because I do follow Juventus games. Part of my job. So, and I have never seen him, dictating a game. Grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck, and it's like it's Rabiot's game. So he is not there at all. I don't know from where you think he's 200%. So let's see. Bring Rangnick back. Let him bully the board. What do you think about that, Sebastian?
Well, seriously, if they bring in Arnautovic, if I was Ten Hag, I'd just walk. I'd just say, no, didn't sign up for this. I told you who I wanted and you didn't get them. This is the point. They haven't signed anyone really like any big players, have they? It's ridiculous. It's
We have heard big things are coming. We have so much money to be spent on. We have spent
yeah,
on stupidity in the past,
bollocks.
and we are doing the same again.
Yeah,
Uh,
bollocks.
doing the same again. All
Yeah.
right. So there is a hello from Sazbai to you, Sebastian.
Hiya. How we doing?
Vishal is asking, should we sell Rashford in winter window? He's not going to be sold. Guys, you have to be optimistic, but not to that level. He's not going anywhere. Even if he's going somewhere, it will be in the summer, not in the winter. We are already very thin. We are already very thin. And if we are, getting rid of someone like Rashford, who are we going to replace him with? And how much the replacement is going to cost. So let's see. Not even McFred, Rangnick could drop McFred. There is a reason. There is no backup. But now we do have. Now we have someone like Gardner who has come back. Now we have Eriksen. Now we have Donny. we didn't have these three players when Rangnick was here. When Rangnick was here, we didn't have these three players. So I think now we have three players, and we should definitely try for them. What do you think, Sebastian?
Yeah. I think it's got to the stage where we definitely don't want to see them together. This is the point. I don't mind one of them if we have to see one of them and they're given a specific role, then okay. But I don't want Fred and McTominay together. It's just never going to work.
Exactly.
And I think it's got to the stage now where it was so clear. It was so clear what Brighton were doing. They were pressing Fred and McTominay so much. Like Fred, he actually couldn't cope with it. He really couldn't. Like he gave the ball away, and it was just so clear. McTominay, we know he can't do it. So that's where I think that if you're going to play Ten Hag away, then you may as well go with Garner. You may as well give him a chance because he can't be any worse. Because McTominay, he can't do that. He cannot play that way at all.
Exactly.
It's not good enough.
Also, imagine instead of Rabiot, we had Locatelli approach. Locatelli just signed for Juventus, so I don't think there was going to be any success, even if he would have tried for Locatelli. Should have gone for Dembele. I don't think so. Dembele with his fitness issues makes no sense. What do you think, Sanjay? What do you think, Sebastian?
Dembele from Barcelona. No, trouble again. This is the problem. I don't want players with attitude. I want players with good attitude.
Exactly.
This is the issue. I don't know why we target these players. Like we've just got rid of Pogba, who was such a problem at the club. Cavani with his attitude towards the end of the season. Lingard we had issues with. Why the hell are we bringing in players again who've got attitude problems, or why are we even looking at them? It's crazy. This is the part of scouting that everybody sees to miss. Scouting, it's not just about watching a player and saying, oh, he's a good player. You're supposed to do your homework. You're supposed to look at their attitude. You should have a contact in that country who you speak to, and you say, what about his attitude? Is he a good worker? Is he going to come to our club and try? It's like this stuff like with the Argentinian players. If you scout them and you know them, then they can be perfectly good attitudes. Look at Zabaleta, Aguero, Manchester City. They were not a problem, were they? They were two great professionals from South America. The place of bad professionals. It's ridiculous. Lisandro Martinez. We know that he's got a good attitude. So it doesn't matter where the player's from. You just need to do your homework. Do your homework and then get some good players in who actually want to play for the club.
Okay, so we don't have backup, so we should start. We should not play crap players. So we should start with like what? 8 players on the pitch? That what should we do? If we don't have the backup, if we don't have the players to start, who should we start? When will Frenkie de Jong saga ends? 13 is the deadline. 13 seems like a deadline, but now there is another twist. And it's why there is another twist of the legal scenarios and the legal threat posed by Barcelona. So this saga is not ending very, very shortly anyway. In my opinion, it's not gonna end. Sebastian, if I have to just take one answer from you on this, what do you think is going to be the end of this saga?
Difficult. I think he stays. I think he stays there somehow. I don't know. I might be completely wrong, but I just, from what I've heard, he loves the life there, and maybe his wife's going to have a word in his ear and say, look, let's just sit it out. We're earning good money here. Let's just sit it out and see what happens. So I think he might stay at Barcelona. But I might be completely wrong. I don't know. I can't, like as I said earlier, I can't understand why we would have been there for that long if we don't have a yes from the player. That would be unbelievable.
And that's I think baffling for everyone. And
Yeah.
that's what giving United fans optimism as well. That with the Dutch manager knowing him so well, having his number, and being in constant touch with him.
Yeah.
At this point of time, no one knows what they are talking about, whether they are just laughing at United or not. Even that we don't know, But at this point of time, I have been very optimistic throughout this almost 3 months that, from the news that broke for the first time that he might move to United, I have kept that stance that he will be here. I still believe that, if he is making a move, he might prefer United, but with the legal scenario coming into effect, and the way Barcelona is dealing with this situation, all of a sudden he might just say, what, enough of this crap. Just I am taking a 40% wage cut. That's fine, and the money that you owe me, you guys can pay me after I leave the club, or 1 million or 2 million at a time for the next 3 years or 4 years till the time I'm here. So
Yeah.
that's, and he might even try to get the deferred payment even out of the way, because
Yeah.
Barcelona, they were paying around 4 or 5 million for him. So let's see. At this point of time, everything is just all talk. So let's see. And again, all right. This was the question: Arnautovic, Depay, or Aubameyang? For me, Aubameyang wins the race any day. Sebastian.
None of them.
For me, if you have to choose from these three, because we have no options.
No, if I had to, probably Aubameyang, but I don't want any of them. I don't want any of them.
Yeah,
But if I had to, maybe Aubameyang, because he can, he can score you a lot of goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aubameyang, because we need a striker. We don't need. Depay is more like a Rashford, isn't he? He's more like can drift out to the left. So if we're going to sign someone, yeah, you need a striker. So yeah, Aubameyang.
All right. Sahil is asking Sebastian, how long do supporters have to put up with this? One match in, and we are talking like it's the end of the season. No,
I
it's
know. It's
but
disappointing.
yeah,
Sorry, yeah,
you know,
it's disappointing. It's so disappointing. We can only hope that it gets better, but it's the transfer window that I'm more concerned about the news that we've had in the last 24 hours with Arnautovic
exactly.
and Rabiot than the game. The game can happen. You can lose football matches and it can take time. That was disappointing, but I can get over it. But these transfers, if we're going to start signing players like that, then unfortunately we're not heading in the direction that we hoped.
This one, Ivan Tony, can we see a striking option? Premier League proven. I don't think he's Premier League proven just yet. It's not like he scored 20, 25 goals. He's a good option. I think he can be a great backup. But I don't think he is the choice at this point of time. He can definitely develop, but we need to, I think, take a punt at this point of time. We should have gone for someone like Skamaka with a higher ceiling. When we look at Tony, he's a good player, but I don't think he's at this point of time good enough to be the top striker at United. What do you think, Sebastian?
No, better than the options that they're talking about, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would take him over who they're talking about currently, but still not an ideal signing. Yeah, there's lots of other players that we could look at. What about the right back situation? Let us know in the comments, guys. What right back would you look at if there's maybe a cheap one? Is there someone out there who you think could come in? Because I think Delort struggled a lot yesterday, didn't he? He really struggled. We know that Wan-Bissaka is not good enough. I think Ethan Laird has gone on loan. So what about right back situation? Is there anyone who you'd like to see us sign? Let us know in the comments.
All right, guys. So you have heard Sebastian. Whether do you think, or right back, you think we should aim for now that Mukiele is gone? We have seen Dalo, he is not good enough. We have talked about it in the previous streams as well. Van Bissaka, he is not good enough as well. And coming back to Yulu, there was no mistake from eriktenhag. He decided to trust a set of players for the first game. They didn't do the job. Nothing he can do about it. There was no mistake from the manager, apart from keeping McTominay till the 75th minute. That's the only mistake I think he made. He should have got rid of McTominay at the halftime, given that 45 minutes to someone like Donny van der Beek, and we might have sneaked in a draw. So apart from that, there is no mistake and there is nothing to discuss about. First game as the manager, he wanted to try his team, that didn't work out. Next game, what he does, let's see. Sebastian, take on CR7 starting. I think he starts next game for sure.
Yeah, I think I didn't. If he wanted to leave, then we should have let him go and replaced him. But if we're not going to replace him with anyone decent, then we might as well start him, because at least we know that he can score. So ultimately, we haven't got an option. The thing is with Ronaldo, which is kind of sad with this whole situation, is Ten Hag could have probably made it work for him, because Ten Hag's worked with Haller. Haller's one of the slowest strikers. He doesn't move on a football pitch. Yeah. And Ronaldo, you don't necessarily need to move that much under Ten Hag's system. It's not, Ten Hag doesn't want his striker to press all the time. He wants him to be in the box.
Exactly.
So Ronaldo could still do well under Ten Hag if he decides to stay, but it's all about his attitude.
All right. So the question that you asked, we have heard Dumfries, Adams. Why don't Glazers go B? Because we are the golden egg for them. We earn them the money, and they basically invest it in the other teams. and they take the dividends out of it. So
Yeah.
Arish is saying, I think Bruno should be dropped. I think he's this close to being dropped. Arish, I honestly feel that way, that he's this close to be dropped. And as I said, first 4 5 games, if these set of players they are not putting up, they are going down. They are going. I think they are getting benched. So let's see. Yeah, definitely, you can ask. I will be very disappointed, and I will definitely talk about the team news if McFred starts again, if Shaw starts again. So for me, those three players, if they are starting again, I think one of them will definitely start, because as Sebastian said, we will need a player with that defensive mindset. So we might even say McTominay, you know, but then one of those I don't want to see both
No.
of them. Nishal bhai, good night.
Good night.
Bakayoko to United? I don't think so. No, no. I think he's good enough player for Serie A, but that's his ceiling. Sebastian, what do you think? Bakayoko to United? Most
No,
level.
no,
No.
no, no, no. No, don't want another player like that. I think this is the problem. We've just missed out on so many. Like even Renato Sanchez, people were talking about, but he's gone to PSG now. Then PSG are going to get Ruiz. All the other clubs are signing top players, and we are just not. Like even Barcelona, as much as you can criticize them, they've ended up getting Kessie, Rafinha, and Lewandowski. I would have had all three of those players at Man United at the moment, wouldn't you? Kessie would walk into our midfield. Rafinha is the left-footed winger we've needed. Lewandowski would, if Ronaldo was going to go, it's just so disappointing. We haven't been busy enough at all. We just haven't been busy enough. So disappointing.
Uh, so, what if Barcelona offers for Aubameyang? I would ask them for Nou Camp if they offered us Aubameyang for Rashford, because anyway, Nou Camp is of no value at this point of time. They are in a billion in debt. So add some more, because if they are offering Aubameyang for Rashford, I won't even let them be around Carrington. Let alone Carrington, I won't even allow them on the Manchester airport. If they're offering Aubameyang for Rashford. So coming back to this, we were discussing about this, Sebastian. Keylor Navas for short term.
I like him. I've always liked Neves. I think he's a really good goalkeeper. We nearly got him, didn't we? And then something went wrong with the administration. So yeah, it
The
very
fact,
nearly happened, didn't it? Very nearly did happen at one time.
yeah.
It would have been probably a good thing in a way.
Shivam says it's getting bad to worse. Shivam bhai, we all know that, unfortunate for us, but it is what it is. This is not the Bruno we are familiar with. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to understand at this point of time, Sebastian. What has happened all of a sudden? Before Ronaldo, he was a totally different player. Now
Yeah.
that he has, when Ronaldo gets in, all of a sudden his role changed just a bit, not by much, but then he looks like a pale shadow, just like Simon says.
Yeah, I think Bruno started to feel maybe the pressure because under Oli, obviously Bruno had that great season, but I think as well, the players played better when we were behind closed doors because these players they're quite weak. There's not a clear leader, is there? When we talk about the captain, there's not a clear leader in our team, and I think that's the problem. And I think for Bruno, it just got too much, didn't it? He was like the main man. I think it went to his head a little bit. And I think he needs to start simplifying his game. Start
Exactly.
doing the simple things. Like when he first came, I remember his debut against Wolves. He was brilliant. Just keeping the ball, doing the simple things is what he needs to do.
I feel that way as well. I think he just need to just do the basics right. Just don't try too many glory balls. When you lose the possession, you look like a clown on the pitch. Basically, don't try too many glory balls, because at this point of time there are not many runners. At this point of time there are not many runners. So you were angry with De Gea with the Brighton defeat. Why to be angry with players that I know that they are not capable? Why would I waste my energy on someone like De Gea, McTominay, you know, uh, uh, Shaw, at times even Rashford? But when I know that they have to improve by miles to even be, near playing 11, De Gea cannot kick a ball, Shaw cannot defend, McTominay cannot pass, Fred cannot do anything. Rashford is all running, no finishing. So these are the guys that needs to look in themselves. As a fan, I can criticize them. I am not going to waste energy by being angry on them. I have seen that in the last 10 years. These bunch of players are the least hardworking you can say on the pitch. We have lost the games. We have lost the games even during Van Gaal times, with Jose Mourinho, with Moyes, but we didn't look so out of sorts, you know, where we are just totally given up, like given up. These bunch of guys, they basically gives up, So I think that's my take. It might be a bit harsh, but that's what I feel.
Yeah. I think there's no point being angry with players that are not good enough. You just want them ultimately to move on, don't you? In the end, I think there's a lot of players at the club who, like Rashford, Shaw, De Gea, realistically, none of them are good enough, but they were never going to leave this summer. They're going to hopefully leave next summer. But now I don't know, because I don't know what's going on with the club. But yeah, in an ideal world, I think it would have been next summer that you would have lost those players. But obviously this summer we lost so many, didn't we? Matic, Mata, Cavani, Lingard, and so on. So we already had so many players that that have gone out the door. So we can't really let that many more go if we're not going to bring anyone in.
So Sane is saying that Rabiot can be a pain. Sane, we already discussed it. I don't think he is, good enough for United. It's basically replacing McTominay with another McTominay-like player, and by giving a club, the fee, and getting him someone like him on a double wage. So makes no sense to me, in my opinion. Aniket by saying Bruno is stressed. Every Premier League team knows he's our creative outlet, and that's what he needs to realize. I think with Eriksen and Donny, now the manager have other creative outlets as well. If Bruno is not performing, get him some time on the bench. Made him just rethink his game, what he's trying to do. In the meanwhile, play those two guys. It's not like you don't have options anymore.
Yeah, exactly. We've got plenty of people. No, it's ridiculous. What does everyone think about the top four? Do we think we can still make it, or do you think it's just not going to happen? I mean, Tottenham are definitely looking strong. I think now you could probably say that obviously City, Liverpool, and Tottenham are going to be the top three. So it's that fourth position. You probably got Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United. What do you think? Do you think we can make it, or is it going to be difficult? I think at the minute the problem is Arteta. I don't think he's a great manager, but Arsenal are heading in a better direction, and they kind of know what their team is now, their best 11, And I think Man United, we're kind of where Liverpool were at when Liverpool first brought in Klopp. We're at that stage where it's going to take a lot of time for us to get where we need to be. And I don't mind being patient, but I need to see that we're at least trying to bring in some young players. I don't want us to bring in more dead wood.
Exactly. I wanted to put that comment. In the meanwhile, Simon is saying Rashford was one of the best finishers, and unfortunately he has lost it. And Shindy saying top four. I think even with this squad, I don't think there is any chance of top five, let alone top four.
Yeah.
And last season we got into top six because West Ham absolutely, destroyed themselves in the last few game weeks. Otherwise, we would have been like seventh or eighth, even in previous season. So Leonard says not top four. Simon is saying seventh or eighth will be the obvious place. I don't think we are going to finish seventh or eighth. I just think that we will be still at the sixth place. If we are not making additions, like if we make Frenkie de Jong signing, things will change definitely in the midfield. And we also need the fitness and full fitness of Martial and Ronaldo for the remainder of the season. Obviously, it's just one game, but we need them fit for like 37 next games. So I will rate this window Warren by with a sarcastic comment 10 on 10. I want United to be in Europa that way. I don't even want us to be in Europa, because when we go to Europa, we still get some money out of Europa. I just don't. If we are not getting Champions League, I just don't want to play as Europa. I just don't want us to play anywhere. Conference League might be just for the shame that we are in the Conference League now, not even Europa. Otherwise, just finish 8th, 9th, 10th. I don't care. I don't care because the Glazers don't care.
No, exactly. This is the problem, isn't it? It's kind of like you're always fighting a losing battle with the Glazers, because you know that they don't care. So it's almost impossible to be positive in so many ways, because you know that they're not really interested. Like with the Ronaldo situation, as fans, we think about it like, okay, we need a young pressing striker. But the Glazers don't think about it like that. The first thing the Glazers think about is, we're going to lose a lot of money in deals, in sponsorship deals. If Ronaldo goes, we have to keep Ronaldo. But they don't care about what happens on the pitch. They want to keep Ronaldo because of the same reason they wanted to keep Pogba, because he's a big name. You know, that's the reason why they had Woodward in charge for so long, because they wanted Woodward to keep signing those types of players that bring them money.
So basically, they have turned us into how the American franchise game goes on.
Yeah.
They don't get all they want is just money, and they don't care about they are being successful or not. They just want one of those signings, once in a while, and they are more than happy with it. Frankie's history, Simon, I don't think his history just yet. Till the time, it's not 1st September in India and officially the transfer window is closed, I think this saga is gonna rumble on. Whether he goes to Chelsea, whether he comes to us, whether he stays with Barcelona, this saga is going beyond 13th. I don't think they are going to finish this saga in the next 4 or 5 days. I absolutely don't believe so. So exactly, and I think that's how they're going to learn their lesson. Not with Europa League, not with Conference League, because they will be getting some money. And with United in the Conference League or Europa League, they basically will get more money because of the people will more pay more for the pay-per-views to watch United in the Europa League. So
yeah. It wouldn't surprise you if we start doing an all or nothing documentary, will it? We'll start doing
exactly.
like the Tottenham and Arsenal all or nothing next.
Exactly. I won't be surprised if next season, Ronaldo changing his shots will be shown live, in the documentary.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
won't be surprised if Amazon or someone else, Netflix or Amazon or whoever it is, gets into the dressing room of United, and everything is out there. Everything
Yeah.
is out there.
It's like the Pogmentary, isn't it? The Pogmentary,
I didn't
unbelievable.
the moment I heard that it is called documentary, I was like, fuck this shit. I am not even watching. I am not even touching on it, let alone
No,
watching. I'm not even touching.
no, I couldn't watch it. Like I watched a documentary on Pele, like a Maradona one. I can watch them, but I'm not interested in watching a Pogmentary. Yeah, hundred
Exactly.
percent, hundred
No,
percent.
what have you achieved? What you have achieved in the last 4 or 5 years to make a documentary, and just after leaving leaving a club, and now we always say that karma is a bitch and it strikes back in the
Yeah,
and that's what has happened with Pogba. So Leo is saying, and you believe in the Brighton defeat will open the eyes of the Glazers family. They haven't opened their eyes in the last 20, 15, 17 years. If you think that Brighton defeat will open their eyes, then good luck to you, Lou. You are very, very optimistic.
I wish it would. I wish it would.
Yeah. Stan is saying, I feel Man United will lose 1 or 2 matches by the month and if we play like Sunday. 1 or 2 matches? The way we have played against Brighton, imagine we are going against a well-drilled team in Brentford. We have Spurs, we have Liverpool, we have City in the first 10 games. We also have Leicester. So at this point of time, I don't even want to think about next week.
No. I
It's
think,
like I'm just
yeah.
praying for the next 5 days that we get some, good signings in.
Yeah, I think it's important that we stick with a team. So whatever Ten Hag does now, I think he needs to find his best 11. So once the
And
transfer
quickly.
window shuts, it's kind of like obviously, yeah, we know who we want us to sign. We talked enough about it, but the point is he needs to stick with an 11, doesn't he? He needs his 11 every Premier League week to know what his best team is, and then we can start to build with that. That's what I want to see. I just want to see a clear, defined structure and way of playing.
This is the comment. Scam 2022. What the hell is going on? Like we have talked for like 3 months about this, and we still get something more to talk about every single day, Sebastian. It's like it keeps on going. And guys, I'm really sorry. I forgot to mention that Sebastian's channel link is in the description. So make sure you click on that and make sure you subscribe to Sebastian's channel. He will be coming out live very, very shortly, in the coming weeks as well. At this point of time, he is live from Argentina. So, make sure that you don't forget to subscribe to his channel. I totally forgot. I always say that whenever I join, I say it, but this time I forget. So sorry about that. But make sure that you are subscribing to his channel. In the meanwhile, Leonard said I saw the trailer of documentary and that was enough for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, more than enough to watch.
Tottenham and Arsenal, they will bottle. I think Tottenham with Conte, they have the ceiling. But with till the time Arteta is with Arsenal, even if they are signing good players, even if they know they are playing 11, they are going to bottle. So I'm not concerned about Arsenal at this point of time. And again, versus Glazers, eyes are shut with the incentive. Or you know what to say? They have taken like 13 million this time around, Sebastian.
Yeah, that's the thing. They that's the thing. Like when you look at the net spend, it's not very good, is it? You know, we sold Pereira. We've lost all of those wages. When you look at the amount of wages that we've lost, there's absolutely no excuse for us not to have signed 6 players and 6 good players. But we haven't even done that. You know, it's just utterly ridiculous. I honestly can't believe how it's gone. I really can't. I don't understand what the Glazers are thinking because they must know that they're not going to get top four. We're not going to get top four with this squad. So what are they? What's their business plan? What are they actually hoping for? Because they're never going to get their Champions League money if they buy Arnautovic and Rabiot and they think that that's going to get us in the top four. It's not. So what is their business plan? That's why I don't understand with the Glazers. I've never understood what they're trying to really achieve.
Exactly.
They're just incredibly frustrating, and you always see the camera going on. I think whatever his name is, one of the Glazers, and
Yeah.
he looks so smug. He always looks so.
Yeah, he has no idea. He's like, he at this point of time, he looks like he doesn't even know the name of the players that are playing on
Yeah,
the pitch.
yeah.
Right? And it looks like he has taken some stuff from Snoop Dogg and he has just smoked it, on the way to the stadium, and he is like, "All right, bros, what the hell is going on the pitch?" You know what? Don't even tell me because I don't care.
I actually
I'm
think it's
just here in the
yeah,
director's box. I'm
yeah.
chilling.
I actually think it's quite sad when you think about it that you've got all that money. Like imagine that you had that much money. You could do so many interesting things. You could like own something that you actually were passionate about. But they
Exactly.
don't, do they? Like look at us. Look at the passion we have as fans. We're so passionate about our club, and it's just shocking, shocking. It's just a business, isn't it? Just a business to them, unfortunately.
Exactly. Next 5 games, City, Liverpool, Arsenal, fine to hard to catch up. Obviously, we are not even in the race, Simon. The race has started. We are now already, you can say, basically disqualified from the race. So let's see. I didn't like Twilight Saga, but Frenkie de Jong Saga is even worse.
Yeah, that's horrendous.
Pre-season, I don't give a shit, Simon, and I believe you don't give a shit to pre-season either. Beating them in the pre-season 4-0, 5-0 makes no sense. Come at the time they will be at Old Trafford, you will see a totally different Liverpool. They are buzzing to go. Diaz, Salah, and Nunez. Good luck trying to contain those three. Lou, first of all, speak for yourself. I never said I'm a hardcore Rashford fan. If someone is not playing well, and on the meanwhile, Sebastian, are you a hardcore Rashford fan? Lou is asking.
I liked Rashford when he first came through. When he first came through and he was playing as more of a striker, I liked him. But I've kind of started to be more and more frustrated when he started not working hard. And I'm really tired of his essays after every game. So he, leaves an essay on Twitter or whatever on his Instagram, and it's really painful because it's the same rubbish that we always hear. I'm sorry, next week will be better, and then it never is.
They have a template. Everyone, not
Yeah,
the result we wanted, but we move on.
yeah.
That's the template. That's a totally different picture. That's it. Simon, thanks a lot for joining in. Cindy says Glazers are making us to listen banter from Arsenal fans. That's the reality at this point of time. We are getting bantered by Arsenal fans, and we have to take it.
Yeah.
Lou, I have no time for nonsense comments, so I'm just going to ignore you. Aniket Bhai says, "What if every United fan, the fan owned culture is not there in England. So they are just basically owned by a particular person. It's not Germany or Spain where you can own the club, by being a fan. So that's not the culture they are naked by, unfortunately. So let's see. God of says ETH coming through whoever is showing on the touchline while finger in his mouth. Imagine we have made one of the best managers at this point of time a meme after just a first game, Sebastian.
Yeah, it's a bit harsh, isn't it? It's a bit harsh. I think Ten Hag is the right appointment. I think the problem is the structure of the club, isn't it? Well, we know what the problem is. It's the ownership. It's not Ten Hag. I just hope he's decisive. I hope because the problem with Solskjaer was he kept flip flopping. He kept, I'm going to play this player, I'm going to play that player. I just hope that Ten Hag is consistent with who he picks. I want him to have a certain way of what he does.
No, I think the biggest downfall of Ole was that thing itself. He made promises that he couldn't keep. You cannot make promises to all 27 players of the team that you will be playing. You
Yeah,
know, he made promises to everyone. That you will be playing, and he kept on playing the same set of players who were absolutely rubbish on the pitch.
yeah,
You know, imagine playing week in week out for McTominay, but not giving a chance to someone like Donny. I'm not saying that play Donny blindly. I'm not saying that keep on playing Donny even if he's shit, but at least give him a run of 5 to 10 games. In Premier League, if a player is not getting a run of 10 games, and if you are judging, then what even do why even to sign a player for so much money?
yeah. No, exactly. What does everyone think about Sancho? Because Sancho, obviously, he was bought as a right winger. He played on the right, and he didn't really have much of an impact, did he? So, what do we think about Sancho? Do we think he's going to end up on the left if we sign a left-footed right winger? I mean, that could happen, but I don't know. I think Sancho was good last season. In the second part of the season, he got better, didn't he? And I think there is potential there, but he still needs to do a little bit more. Needs to be a little bit more. Needs to start getting more assists for me.
Yeah, for me, what happens with the likes of Rashford and Sancho is, these guys you can use as an outlet, and when you have a fluid front three, which was not there in the first game. Obviously, with Martial injury, there was no. With Ronaldo getting back in the next game, you know, Rashford and Sancho, they will have someone who will bring the defenders out, and I think they will be bit more impactful. But then I'm still looking forward to see what we line up with the midfield. You know that is going to be very very crucial on how we are lining up with the midfield. If we are not going with the desired midfield, even the like of Ronaldo starting, we are not going to make much of a difference. And what I'm looking forward to see is when you have Malacia on one side, with Eriksen a bit deeper, with quality to pick up the balls, with Rashford and Sancho, then all of a sudden you have 4 or 5 outlets, because sure, he cannot do both the things. We have seen that he just cannot defend. Malacia with his pace, he can at least recover back even if he's losing the ball. We have seen that, you know. So with so many outlets of crossing, and that's why I said Ronaldo starting next game, you know, would be like a great thing. Who do you think should form our midfield in the next match? Magpie, I have already talked about it, but I think you missed out. For me, it's going to be Donny, Eriksen, and Bruno.
Yeah, for me as a midfield three, I think at home you could play Donny, Eriksen, and Bruno as a midfield three, but I'm not sure about away. So I think you have to have one holder. I don't want McTominay after his last performance. I don't really want Fred. So I'd just put Garner, Van der Beek, and Garner, Van der Beek, and probably Bruno, and then put Eriksen wide left, maybe Sancho on the right, and Rashford down the middle if Ronaldo's not going to play.
All right. So I won't mind that at all. If Gardner is starting, but then rather than looking at home or away, I would look at the competition.
Mm.
If it was someone like Aston Villa or someone like, when you can say like someone like even Wolves, who
Yeah,
have good midfield, I would have not gone along with this midfield. But when you look at the likes of Brentford, they can defend solidly, but then in the midfield you can totally bypass them, which we have done in the previous games as well. With slick passing. So that's why I am going with someone like, and these two guys. As I said, they won't be losing that many balls that you have to get them back.
mm.
So we can start them, but I absolutely won't mind if Garner is starting. So Shayan, that's on you. I cannot stop watching the games. So that's totally on you. Every fan has their own, right to do what they want to. It's high time now. I want ETS to give McTominay on Fred another 2 games max. Shindibai, I don't even want them to, 2 games. Next game I think Donny at least should get a start. I am not willing to wait for another 2 games. These 2 games might turn into next 2 games, another 2 games. All of a sudden they have like 1 game and they feel entitled to play at least next 5 games. So I don't want that. So Sebastian, what do you think? They should resolve like 2, 3 more games, or just make the changes next game.
No, I think if you had to go with, you can go with one of them, but you can't play them both. I think if you want to put Fred, let's say you put Fred in the holding role. I know it's not ideal. I know we need a holding midfielder, but let's say that Fred plays there, and then in front of him you had Beacon Eriksen or Beacon Bruno, then fine. But yeah, you can't play them both. And Luke Shaw, definitely I would drop. I would play Malacia, definitely, because I would rather see Malacia make mistakes, but at least he's going to learn. At least he's going to get better. You know that there's the potential there. With Luke Shaw, he just makes mistakes after mistake after mistake, and he's never going to get any better. We know what Luke Shaw is. You know, he's a certain level. He's never going to be good enough. So yeah, we might as well go with Malacia.
All right, Sebastian, this one. Savage, Iqbal, Garner, Rain, Brock, McFred, start BDV and Eriksen. They will be brave on the ball compared to McTominay, who cannot even hold it. McFred, sorry, not McTominay. I think that sounds totally fair to me. Like I won't say that bring in, Iqbal, Savage, Garner all of a sudden, those three instantly. But start with Gardner, start with Gardner at least.
Yeah, I think start with Garner. Like I said, start with Garner, see how he does. He can't do any worse than the previous players we've talked about. And if the plan is to keep the ball, well, we know that Garner's better at keeping the ball than McTominay and Fred. So if that's the plan, then it's worth it. You know, if we were playing a different way if we had Mourinho as manager, then you could say, okay, play McTominay, because the job would be to do the Matic role and just break up play. If we're trying to play like Ten Hag, the job is not to break up play; it's to keep the ball. So, like you were saying, with your midfield three of Bruno, Eriksen, or Beak, or with Garner, at least they've got the potential to actually keep the ball. You know, so I think it's worth trying, definitely.
All right, so Gaurav says my team next match: De Gea, Delor, Maguire, Varane, Malacia, Donny, Martinez, Sancho. So he's basically playing Martinez as the CDM. Then Sancho, Garnacho, CR7, Eriksen. I think that's too many changes, and I don't think CDM is the role just yet for someone like Martinez. What do you think? CDM as Martinez as CDM.
The problem is if we don't buy anyone, then we might have to. We might have to do that because he is good on the ball and he can tackle. So maybe we'll have to do that, and maybe we'll go back to Varane and Maguire. It's not ideal. It wouldn't be ideal, but it depends what way you look at it, doesn't it? It depends which way you look at it, what you want to do. But I'd rather play Martinez in midfield than have Rabiot. I'd rather that we signed Pau Torres, put him centre back, and then put Martinez in midfield. If we're not going to sign a proper midfielder, I'd rather do
Exactly.
that.
Makes more sense than that. So
Yeah.
see, Jose Mourinho, whatever he said, no one said he was wrong. Just everyone thought that he was very, very toxic. There is certain level that as a manager you have to keep at. You can criticize, you can do, but he was basically waging an all-out war. He was willing to sell everyone at that point of time. You know, so I think as a manager you cannot do that. All of a sudden you are basically willing to disintegrate your own squad. So basically he was asking for signings for the failure of signings that he made, and then he was not even willing to let go of those signings. So basically, he brought in the likes of Lindelof, Bay, all these signings, and that didn't work out, and he's not willing to let them go, and he's asking for more signings. It was never going to work. It was never going to work. So, what do you think, Sebastian, about that?
Yeah, Mourinho, he did what he could. I think that third summer when we ended up getting Fred and Delort, that was the end, wasn't it? And I think Mourinho started to act, a bit below himself. He started to play, started to make points to the board, and I understand it. And I think he's right, Mourinho. He's right in what he was doing, but it's kind of frustrating, and similar to what Ralph was doing. It's exactly the same with Ralph Rangnick. Both of them were tired of the board, and both of them, in the end, they started making points to the fans rather than worrying about the selection for the team. And someone said to me the other day, they said, maybe that was what Ten Hag was trying to do. Maybe Ten Hag is saying, look, I'm playing Fred and McTominay because you haven't bought me a midfielder. I'm playing Eriksen up front because you haven't bought me a striker. Maybe that's what Ten Hag was doing as well. Maybe he's proving a point. Who knows?
All right. So this is something interesting. All of a sudden, Sebastian, can you look at the screen?
Yeah. Appreciate.
I
Well,
have, I have no idea, absolutely no clue whether it's true or not. To be very honest.
yeah. Be a I mean, I think it'd be an expensive one, wouldn't it, for Dortmund? They haven't got that much. They usually sign younger players, don't they? It wouldn't really fit their model. I mean, Dortmund have just signed the guy from Salzburg, Akiyemi, and they're known for signing young players, but they do need to replace Haller, don't they, because of his illness?
Yeah.
So they maybe will sign someone. I don't know where Cavani's going. I think is Cavani going to La Liga or I
Yeah,
don't
he is
know.
going to La Liga. He got an
Yeah.
offer from Boca Juniors, but he is
Yeah.
saying that his family wants to go to Spain, and he's a family man. He wants to give them that La Liga life. So he's basically moving on to that way. So at this point of time, basically what we have talked, guys, today is all about how doomed we are in this transfer window. Why we are going for Rabiot and why we are going for the likes of Arnautovic. I think no one knows at this point of time. It's all speculations. In the meanwhile, guys, whoever is here, as I said, I totally forgot. The channel link of Sebastian is in the description. So make sure that you are subscribing to his channel as well. He will be coming live, in the coming weeks, as well as he keeps on putting the videos regarding every game as well as the latest transfer news. So go and give it a watch. So, Sebastian, still 22 days to go for transfer window to get out of the way. 3 weeks we have. Are your realistic expectations? Like people are saying, every outlet that we have heard so far, it says Frenkie de Jong deal is totally different. The deal for Rabiot is totally different, and it's not an aftermath of we losing the game against Brighton. It was in the pipeline for some time. So, your views on this and 3 weeks, what do you think we can achieve in the upcoming 3 weeks?
Well, if we look at the spend of what we've spent so far, it's not much over 50 million, is it? The net spend, it's not that much over it when you look at the money that's come back and if you look at the wages that we've lost. So I still think I heard our budget was 120 million at the start of the season. I don't know if that's correct. I think we've spent about a net spend of about 50 probably if you work out all the wages and everything else. So in my mind, we should be spending more than that, obviously. But if let's say that we've got 70 odd million, I don't know, then De Jong has to be the one, doesn't it? We have to go and get that. If we've been chasing him all summer and he's the important one, then we go with him. In that case, we have to keep Ronaldo. So I think all I want from the end of this transfer window, obviously in an ideal world, I want a centre mid, I want a left-footed right winger and a pressing young striker. But realistically, we're not going to get those three things. It's clear we're not going to get those three things. So all I want now, because I'm so disappointed with everything, all I want is just one more player, at least one more player, but I want him to be world class, to walk straight into our team and actually be good enough to make a difference. So if it's me, I'm going to pay the money for De Jong or I'm going to pay the money for Anthony because they will come straight into our team and they will give us a whole new dimension. That's what I want. I don't want us to go and buy 3 players who we can buy for 10, 20 million, but they're crap and they have a crap attitude. It's pointless, utterly pointless. I'd rather sign one player, but he can come straight into the team and actually make a difference. That's all I want. Proper players, no rubbish, none of these lazy players. Proper players.
All right. So, Matata, your comments are not better than Shnidhi's, first of all. Second of all, when you have to run agenda, you cannot do anything. First of all, one more thing before I take anyone else's comments. Glazers don't need to be exposed. They are already exposed, you know, and no one goes out with a gun, in their hand in the very first game against the owners. So where you are employed by someone, where you have just started your job, and you have a certain deadline that you have to get the players, whatever you want from the boss. That deadline is not there yet, you know. So how eriktenhag behaves after the 1st of September, that's totally different. But at this point of time, I don't think he's going to come out in the public and say, they are absolutely rubbish, they are absolutely shit. They are not going to say that. Sorry, he's not going to say that. And the world knows how shit Glazers are. So whether he says it or not at this point of time doesn't matter. He's focused on making the team better. Simple. He wants to get the signings he has. Or if you think that he has not conveyed his message to the board that which players he wants, I think you need to look at how things work at United. Mayank Bhai says Martinez looks like a regular starter in the ETH. Varane ahead of Maguire will be a real possibility, in the upcoming game weeks, in my opinion. I don't think Maguire is going to handle the likes of, Haaland or Nunez. What do you think, Sebastian?
Yeah, difficult what to do with it. But I think, yeah, I mean, if it was me, it would have been Varane and Martinez from the start at centre back. But I think he'll go with Maguire for at least 5 or 6 games, won't he? I think he'll go with him. Unless if Maguire does something really bad, then maybe he'll be taken out. But yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. I think.
Yeah, one question that came through yesterday, Sebastian, that was how we feel about a back three in certain games, starting all those three guys. Like obviously we don't have the depth to keep this
Yeah.
on for like a lot of games, but in certain games, play those guys, with Malacia and Dalo as the wing backs, and then we will have one midfielder, over there, like someone like McTominay or Fred with someone like Eriksen, and we might look at better team. So what do you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't mind us playing a three at the back if we want to do it. Sometimes it's okay. I'm not the biggest fan of that formation, but I think for certain games it's okay if we want to do that. At least we do. Maguire definitely is better in a three in the back, so it would help
Yeah,
Maguire. So yeah, it could help us in some ways. It's not the worst idea. It all depends on who we sign, doesn't it?
exactly. I have been saying this. I have been saying this before as well. But people is like people are like, we cannot just go. Yeah, all of a sudden we cannot do that unless or until we are not trying it in the training session. It's not like all of a sudden, oh, we need a defensive covering. Go three at the back.
Yeah.
We cannot do that either. Either we are training with it or we are not training with it. So, do you support the protest against Glazers? Obviously, any protest against Glazers, we are going to support you know and we will do our best in any way we can. And as I said, that's why I never buy any original merchandise from any of the website or anything. So that's my way of not funding the Glazers. In the meanwhile, Parikshit bhai, welcome to the stream. Future games Gardner deserves a chance. We have talked about it, and I think we both think, and I think majority of us thinks the same way, that he definitely deserves a chance. He is not going to do worse than what McFred is doing, you know. So I think we have discussed it. And Sebastian, I think your final view on this.
Definitely, yeah. I think he deserves a chance. He can't do any worse than Fred and McTominay. McTominay, just for the fact that he nearly got sent off yesterday, has made me so angry that I would just give Garner a chance. I would, and I think Fred as well. I'm so disappointed in Fred for yesterday because he was really bad as well. So yeah, give Garner a chance. He can't do any worse than those two.
All right, so this this is a funny one, Sebastian. This is a funny one. Can we just choose Rabiot and give McTominay
Yeah,
for free?
yeah, yeah. That would be a good thing to do, actually. Yeah,
All
I
right, guys.
wouldn't.
Last comment of the night. Then we will call it off. And Srindibai says it will take 2 seasons. I think we all knew that it was going to take 2 seasons. But now that signings that we have made, we are going to make. I think it might just push this to a third season. We are already on thin lines. We already knew that it was going to take 2 seasons, and then we signed someone like Rabiot and Arnautovic. You know, I think it makes the job tougher rather than making it easier.
Yeah, yeah. It could take. I don't think you can even look forward now. I feel like we've gone backwards. If we sign,
Exactly.
if we sign Arnautovic and Rabiot, then we've gone backwards.
Okay, so last question, is this job too big for Ten Hag? For me, definitely no. I think he can do a world class job, but obviously not with the set of players that he have at this point of time. Give this set of players to Guardiola, even he will never win anything. Even he will never win anything.
Agreed. Definitely.
All right, guys. So, guys, as I say, keep showing love to my channel as well as Sebastian's channel, and he will be here more often than not. Most probably once in a week for sure. And hopefully, next time we will be discussing a better news, and hopefully, we will be discussing a win to kick off after our season finally. So, Brentford it is, and hopefully, Sebastian will be joining us after the game. So stay tuned, guys. And in the meanwhile, if anything comes up, we will see each other tomorrow for sure. So keep the notifications on Thanks a lot for joining in. Subscribe to Sebastian's channel and show lots of love. Good night, guys, and stay safe. Sebastian, parting words.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you for joining, everybody. It was good to talk to you all. And yeah, come over to my channel as well. And yeah, I've got lots of things there, lots of updates, especially on the South American players. I'm here in Argentina at the minute, watching a lot of games. So yeah, feel free to head over there. I like to talk about lots of teams as well. So you'll see lots of different content over on my channel.
All right. So as I said, for the first time when Sebastian arrived here, I was like, we have a separate like Sebastian fan channel here as well. So many people loving the view of Sebastian. So lots of love, guys. As I said, the channel link is in description. Make sure you subscribe to it and show lots of love. So with this, I will be ending the stream, guys. Stay safe. Good night, and hopefully, still few days to go for our second game, but hopefully we get the win. So good night, guys.